All right, hey, all you out in YouTube land, yes, that's a place, and apparently you are there. We got a great video for you today. We're gonna give you some tips and tricks on mastering the ready up. You're also gonna meet Paul, Instructor Paul, AKA Battle Gnome. He's our training director now for Warrior Poet Society, and you're gonna wanna train with him because he's amazing. He might beat me in a drill you're about to see me in. Before we get to the ready up fun though, guys, you're gonna really benefit from a little tirade I went on dealing with fear. One of our students was struggling with something, and I used that as a teachable opportunity to go on a rant that's gonna help you with life. It's certainly helping me as I press into that. We'll get to that, and then we're gonna crush some ready up awesomeness. Now give it up for Paul, my homeboy, who's about to embarrassingly outshoot me in my own video.
Let's do it.
Stand by. 0.74.
More.
Stand by. 0.65.
Cool, very good.
Now we're gonna rip it out.
That's already really fast.
Now we're gonna rip it out now.
Here we go. Don't root against me.
We're
I'm
gonna rip it
still.
out.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
Go to YouTube. Sorry. I got you.
Stand by. 1.2. All right, it might
do
have
it
been a
again?
0.57.
Can we do it again?
That's a 0.57. All right, what's happening, my friends? I'm making an impromptu video. I'm supposed to be teaching right now, but Paul, one of our other instructors, has it well in hand. I'm out in a Pistol 2 class right now, and there was a gal that was in yesterday's training in Pistol 1 who was just having a real hard time. She caught a piece of brass in between her glasses and her eye, and it gave her a little burn mark. And it really just frazzled her, freaked her out some. And so I'm trying to coach her through this, and I had someone else shoot, and as they shot, I caught hot brass and was like playing hot potato with it, and I gave it to her, and I'm like, see, it's scarier than it is actually painful, right? And I was just trying to coach her because after that happened, she was just frazzled. Already, she's just brand new to shooting. It's very scary in the class, and really, I felt like it was just really more punking her out in her head. It wasn't that it was that scary, but I watched it almost like an avalanche, building more and more mass as it went by, and that was what her fear was doing. She came here with a couple friends, and her friends were desperately trying to coach her through to make sure that she did in fact come in today, and I was worried that she wouldn't come back today. And so I was doing everything I could as an instructor to take care of the class and to coach her through this. But this morning, as I was coming to the range, I was really worried I wasn't going to see her today, and I really wanted her to. And I guess the advice that I wanted to give her, of like, listen, don't run from this thing that's scaring you. I get it's scary, but if you run now, you'll always be running. And it's just such a good lesson for life in general. Whenever anything scares you, anything makes you afraid, anything makes you want to back down or take the path of least resistance and get away from it, don't give in an inch. If you run from it, you'll always be running from it. And it'll gain a little bit more power. It's like fear is a little bit of a monster, and every time you give in, you feed it, and it gets bigger and bigger. Me personally, I don't want fear to have any power in my life. Fear is the opposite of things like courage and love, as perfect love casts out all fear, 1 John 4, I believe. So anyway, that's the stuff that can really get us in sticky points in our lives. And so I wanted to pose this question to you guys tuning in, because I care about our community, and I want us to be brave and courageous, as the righteous are bolder than lions, and that's a big deal. So what are you running from? What are sticky places in your life? What has you afraid? And I just encourage you to run at that thing, as hard as it is, to not give it any power. You know, to run straight at the thing that makes you afraid. If you're claustrophobic, splunking. Heights, skydiving. You're afraid to ask the girl out? Go ask the girl out and say, you know what? I'm going to get turned down, but there's something worse, and that's starting a cycle of fear in my life. Don't give in to it. All there is this thing in front of you, and if you give in to any fear, it starts cascading in your life as well. It may not be shooting on the range like this gal, but she's here. She's out there shooting right now, and I can read it on her face. She doesn't want to do it, but I know on the other side of this, she's going to grow and it's going to spread into other areas of her life as well. And so I'm proud of her out there. I'm about to rejoin Paul, our other instructors out there right now with the class, so they're well taken care of at the moment, else I wouldn't have stepped aside. But I wanted to be able to give that nugget to you guys. It's time for ready-ups, but I'm not going to let you get off super easy and just off to the races shooting. I'm going to dry fire you until you hate Paul. Paul, will you go ahead and accept responsibility for the need to dry fire?
Number one, it saves you money. You can get a lot done in dry fire. These days, it's rough. Boo. 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 So listen, dry practice is really the key to a lot of your training. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The only thing you can't get out of dry practice is recoil management. Okay, we're conducting motor programming. Right? We're conducting some programming so that you establish that muscle memory that gives you that level of unconscious competence to bring a gun from a ready position, whatever that is, getting it up on target without wasting bullets. That's why we're going to do dry practice, right? We're going to get you programmed so that you're doing it right. We can check it, and you're doing it without the stress of the boom, the bang, bullets going out, worrying about your accuracy, checking my target kind of stuff. We'll be able to get you to do it in dry practice. We'll be able to correct anything, and then that way we're not wasting time once we get into live fire. Okay, we'll get everything fixed that we can fix in dry practice, and then we go live and we start turning money into noise. I'm getting consistent repetitions and practice, working the fire controls on this gun, putting it on fire as I come up. You guys notice it goes on fire, fingers on the trigger, you can hear the click. When my sights come off target, I go back on safe, sights come off target, come back to my low ready, up, and I can bring that red dot up every time from this low ready position and put it where I want it. Don't have to really think about it. I can probably close my eyes. Yep, sitting right there. Take my word for it, promise. So, but I mean, really, just through repetition, just practicing things dry, you can get that consistent presentation every time. It's just like your pistol. It's just like your drawn presentation with the pistol. That's what this is for the rifle, is the low ready coming up, finding that consistent sight picture every time. Now, you notice I'm not moving my head to the gun. I'm bringing the rifle and optics up to my focal plane because we want to be able to bring the sights directly to our focal plane because we got something fixed that's stationary, and we're bringing the sights up to that, and we're aligning the sights with our focal plane instead of trying to move two things together and get them to marry up and meet somewhere and then figure it out.
I noticed also when Paul was doing his presentations, he was doing his ready-ups, he'd shoulder the gun, kind of square off to this target, so when the gun did move, it would come straight up on the y-axis only. Some of you folks will see your target in front of you, but instead of already being perfectly on that y-axis, you dip your muzzle down. So now you're moving on the y and x axis, and that's all trash. Sometimes you have to do it, especially if you're coming from a position of like hangout or non-readiness onto target. Now I've kind of got the x and y axis going, and you just got to deal with it. But if I'm cheating something, I'm kind of like, hey, whoa, hey, hands up and shot. You know, like if there's that kind of progression, you notice as I went through that kind of in more of a cop's context of like, let me see your hands, and a soldier could do that, a civilian could do that too. But regardless, I am cheating my rifle up onto just the y-axis. I'm like, whoa, hey, and then I'm ready, and I'm cheating that up. What I don't want is have to move my barrel x and y axis. I also don't want to have to change my rifle in this attitude either. I don't know what to say this, of like a rollover. You know, so you notice here's a gun right here, and I have to come now X and Y axis and move over. And if you imagine how people will typically marry up, they'll also dip their head, they'll bring their rifle up and shrug. So you got like 6 things that need to all coincide, and it's just real hard. And the more little variables, the more little things you have to fix, the slower you are. And that's all trash, right? Our goal is to be able to be fast, accurate, and gloriously consistent without really having to think about it. So I'm just basically cheating up. Let me back up just a little bit because shooting's fun. I'm basically just coming up on the y-axis only and stopping where I need to stop. It's great. All right, guys, if you like this video, and perhaps even if you didn't, go ahead and hit that subscription button, toggle notifications to all, comment, like, share. Guys, we're about to launch a whole bunch of classes for Paul. My classes are sold out and I have to make content for you good people, and also on the network, full steam ahead with shows and classes like our Rifle 1 class, which is sitting there beckoning you, ready for you to watch it. And so Paul and some other instructors are about to pick up the mantle and carry it forward so we can give you high quality training. This is my curriculum. You're gonna love it. And Paul, very, very capable. Please rush the door. I promise you, you will enjoy training with him. Last thing is we're gonna give you some testimonials from classes. They're people just like you. In fact, they came from you. They came through the camera lens into the seat that you might be sitting in, attended our class, and now they're doing testimonials. And so that's gonna play for you right now, just so you can get a taste of what other people have experienced as you're considering getting some more training as the world continues to go to crap. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. It's a weird way to end the video.
One of my buddies in town, we went to the range and we're shooting. And he's like, hey, have you seen this Warrior Poet? I'm like, dude, yeah, I totally been watching it too. And that was something that kicked us both off. And then, the network came out, and it's just the next iteration of keeping up with everybody and the Warrior Poet, yeah.
I was running the Springfield Hellcat. No, I didn't watch the video on the Hellcat. I'm sure that my husband watched the video on the Hellcat, which is why we have them.
That was my wife. Watching the review on the Hellcat really kind of pushed me on to, hey, maybe this is a better gun to fit kind of what I need in EDC. And I ended up running it for a few months, probably 8-9 months, and then took my wife to the range, and she also just kind of fell in love with it. And it was great to kind of both of us go towards the same kind of gun, and we both run the same frame equipment now, so it's fantastic.
I heard about Warrior Poet Society from random YouTube videos in the 2A community, just jumping from one to another. Started watching more, and it kind of just was an avalanche from there.
I found Warrior Poet Society back right before I turned 21. I was looking at reviews for different pistols, and I found some that John did on the 6-hour P320, and I just clicked on those, and then I was like, this guy's really interesting. And I kept watching. I'm like, man, he's just a lot of the same values that what I hold dear and true to my heart. And I was like, man, I gotta follow this guy, and just haven't stopped watching ever since. And it's taken me 3 years, but I finally got to take a class down here, so it's awesome.
I grew up around firearms, specifically, on the farm. So firearms as young as I can remember.
I'm just kind of still getting into it. I'm kind of a fresh into firearms. My biggest hurdle now is as a parent, raising my children to respect them, but really most importantly, not be fearful of them.
Now that I'm a parent and we have kids, it's a different level. I mean, growing up with them, it was like, yeah, you be safe and you don't touch guns unless, dad's around and that sort of stuff. But now it's like you think about all the other things that can happen when you're not there. So, I mean, it's a different level of trying to stay safe, trying to keep them locked up, and it all falls on you at the end of the day.
Fortunately, yeah, there is people who are afraid, not strict anti-gun. They're kind of on the fence. And so whenever the conversation comes up, I try to educate them more. And the more I notice that I educate them about some issues, the more ridiculous they find some of the existing laws and policies.
My favorite Warrior Poet Society video is probably No Nation Sits Secure, but it all hangs on to the second and How to Disarm America are also just really good info. Just, hey, be on the lookout for what's on the horizon for this country and the world, really.
My favorite part of the class is the comic relief. That's horrible. No, I really like just the education that he gives, a background on things. He doesn't just go into what we're doing. He kind of explains why we're doing it.
The classes are huge. I mean, just from day one, shooting the first kind of section of fire, seeing, yep, that's how I shoot. Yeah, that's me, low left. Yeah, perfect. And then, John, easy. I mean, it just, poof, that's gone. Low left's not even a thing anymore. So it's building on that and working in it, being like, all right, now I know why I'm messing up so bad and how to fix it. That's the big thing.
My favorite thing about the classes is the overall atmosphere of the classes. It's not super strict, but yet not super lenient either.
I feel like I've gained a wealth of knowledge. Go back and kind of make some notes at the end of the day.
Seeing John's kind of perspective on the combat scenario of it all has been really good. And Paul's been great too, as far as instruction, and they're kind of feeding off each other and really making the class not only awesome to learn from, but fun to be around too.
I gotta say, after taking these classes, my favorite thing on the network is probably how similar the Rifle 1, Pistol 2 classes are compared to what they are here. A lot of what they're teaching is the same, but at the same time, it's so helpful to have an instructor actually look at you and say, hey, you're messing this up, you're not doing this right. But afterwards, after taking these classes, I'm going to be able to go back to the network and catch things that I missed while I was here, which is really nice.